start recording because quarantine is getting to me, y'all. I've been sitting around trying to start this podcast, just going quarantine crazy. If that's what you gotta call it, you gonna call it, man. People, welcome back to the Growin podcast, y'all. Talo falava, malo lele, aloha, yorana, pulavinaka, kiora, mabuhay, afade. And for those who don't know what islands or languages that's from, I'm gonna just give it quick. Of course, Talofa, because this is the Growin Samoan podcast, Growin Samoan, if you want to call it that. And Talofa means greetings in my native tongue, Samoan. Malolele is for all my Kongas. That's how we say Tongans. Of course, everybody knows Aloha. That's Hawaii. Yorana. Hey. That's Tahiti. Bulavinaka is Fiji. Fijian. Kiora. They say it pretty quick. That's for the Kiwis. New Zealand. Mabuhay. That is from my Filipino partners. Filipino in the house. That's Tagalog, I think. Yeah, Tagalog. Speak Tagalog. From the Philippines. My uncle was 100% Filipino. So I was raised with a lot of Filipinos. My cousins are half Filipino. And I went to school with a lot of, we call them flips, Filipino partners. And Afade is Chamorro. I don't even know where I'm going on with this, but this is, being in quarantine, it's got me thinking a while, and I just want to talk about all things life and how we're going about this coronavirus, COVID-19, Sefulu Eva, that means 19 in the Samoan language, and how the world is reacting upon it. And we got a lot to talk about today. I'm just going crazy right now. I'm cracking myself up because if you go to our YouTube channel, please go to the YouTube page, subscribe, YouTube channel, whatever you want to call it, page, channel. Big shout outs to Zoom right now. We're using Zoom, and I was first using QuickTime media player to do my recordings, but Zoom is coming up in the world. And right now I am using Zoom, and they have this feature where you can put up a background, visual background. You can change it up. A lot of people are using. My boy, big shout outs to Hines from the FT podcast. He told me, he said, hey, yo, hand, go down to the video button, click it and hit visual, and then you can add in background. So right now, if you're watching the YouTube channel, I have a picture in the background of Huntington Beach, California. I think that's LA County. I'm not sure, but the picture I have up is of the beach during right now. I don't know how recent this photo is, but it's got, a few people with their masks on walking on the beach, and people are behind. And right now I'm representing I got my Cali Life shirt on too. And it's weird. I'm wearing shorts too, so it looks like I'm on the beach. Like if you're watching the video, I'm walking on the beach with these three. They look Asian. These three Asian homies right here. The two Asian homies and the girl right here. We're wearing masks, and I don't have my mask, but I do wear a mask just to hitting the mic just to let you guys know. But I just want to say thank you once again for walking with me down this beach, wearing your mask, enjoying the sunshine, so beautiful. Just walking down this beach and enjoying the sun, wearing your mask and help prevent the spread of the coronavirus, COVID-19. And if you're not, like this Pukio in the background and this other lady, I didn't even see this dude. Check out the video. This guy, he's got like the whole shirt on as a mask. I didn't even see that. That's pretty cool because that's what I started using before I actually got a mask. and bought a couple masks that were hella dirt cheap over at the Asian store. There was like two Nike masks. They're like black masks for $7.99. I was like, I had to stretch out the ears for those masks because my head is so big. So I put on two rubber bands to extend them. Kind of like this guy over here. You're watching a video. He's got the blue like medical mask on, and the things that wrap around your ear. If you got a big head like me, you got to extend those. So what you do is you get some more rubber bands, you cut those in half, and then you tie them together to the you cut the things on the mask and you tie those together. Anyway, that's some MacGyver shit right there. So you gotta do what you gotta do, people. You know, you gotta adapt to the situation and make it happen. But yeah, big shout outs to these four fuckers right here. Not 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 that I'm saying that they're, you know, bad people, but they got their mask on, so that's all good. This Bukito right here is just spot on, you guy. He's walking with his dog, looking at them like, hey, what's wrong with y'all? Now, what's wrong with you, homie? You know, that's the problem. What's wrong with you? You can walk around with your dog with your shirt off and everything, no slippers or nothing. But man, put a mask on at least, you know, show some support, man. There's people out there dying, homie. And that's the main thing. There's people out there dying. This is a pandemic. This ain't fake. This is real. This is real deal. The reason why I say it's not fake is I'm a financial guy, and my take on it is pretty simple. When it comes to finances, greedy mofos would do anything in the world to actually keep the money flowing. Now, with that being said, Vegas is shut down. All the casinos around your neighborhood closed. Nothing. Do you know how much money is being lost right now? And do you know how many ties that people had within the government? And not only that, just crooked politicians and just crooked high corporation level people that have links to this kind of, you know, funding. Or the bottom line is money has stopped from big organizations to casinos to gambling. And that is something that is impossible to happen, but it has happened. Why? Because it's coronavirus, you idiots. It's a pandemic. If there's more people inside, sorry to call you idiots, please. I didn't mean to call you idiot, but for the idiots that think that this is some kind of whatever make believe thing, it's a flu virus that spreads to other people. So if you're in a large group, you're gonna get get infected by this coronavirus. And large groups happen to be in casinos, into large events and this and that, sporting events and so on and so on. And there's so much money being made there. So if all powers, you know, that be are able to stop people with that amount of money, big bottle players, then this shit is real. Shut the fuck up. Stop acting like this is some crazy thing that is, that people are making up. It's fucking real, y'all. And the reason why you guys, well, not you, the listeners. I love you. My listeners are cool. They know what's up. You guys are here for a reason. You guys are here because this coronavirus, well, not even because corona. You guys are here because you guys trying to get your money right, your coupe up, and trying to live life nice and happy, like me. I'm happy right now. I ain't gonna fucking lie. I ain't gonna bullshit. It's Sunday. I can't lie, but I'm not gonna lie. Me and Tala are living the best of our lives that we have ever lived in all the years we've been together. Hell, in all the years of my life, things have just been going great, even through this pandemic. Thank God, physically, we haven't been affected. Not that I know of. I still haven't taken a damn test because the government don't even allow you to take a test unless you're feeling sick and shit. But I'm going on a tandem, but hey, just something for you guys listening to listen to while you're in quarantine or, back at it again, listening to the podcast. Where was I going with this? I was going to the point that, I don't know. I just lost my train of thought, but oh well. If Tala was here, she'll throw me back on track. but she's not. And I forgot to mention that um, it's only going to be me today. But hey, it's all good. Tala's hanging out with her moms, and that's where she's at. Thank God, they were actually in the front, um, in the other room, hanging out, and she's been here over the weekend. But yeah, it's just me today on this podcast. Big shout out to my lovely wife, my co-host, who's spending some time with her mama, and which is a lovely thing. I suggest everybody that is in quarantine, if your parents are okay, feeling healthy, and you guys are healthy, yeah, spend some time with each other. I love it. I love that they're spending time with each other. Getting back on my train of thought, I was talking about what was it? Casinos being shut down, and people thinking it's fake, and the money, and how the money, damn, I'm not gonna even try to think. I'm just gonna throw myself into a whole nother world. But let's get it, y'all. Let's get it, y'all. This is one of my podcasts. This is actually my first podcast by myself in a while. I haven't done one of these in a while, but I got to set up in a different room, which is allowing me to do this. And I've set it up pretty good. And it's time to talk, y'all. It is time to talk. We're just gonna talk, man. I'm just gonna let you guys know that I am a financial guy. And so hey, it came back. Now I got what I was trying to tell. My point I was trying to get. So all the people, not you guys, then that's where it came from. I'm not directing this to the Growin Samoan listeners, because you guys are beautiful, smart, intelligent people that are trying to take care of your finances. If you hop on social media, or if you're, listening to the news or stumble upon it, which I, highly suggest you don't listen to the news. I try not to, but yeah, it's there in our lives. It's there. There's nothing we can do about it. You're gonna get all this stupid ass media feeding us crazy shit that we don't want to hear about, but it still gets pumped to our brain. But lately, you have noticed, speaking of the news, what I'm trying to get to is that there are a lot of people who are having rallies to reopen their cities, reopen their so-called towns or cities or states, so they can get back to work. And all these people are just saying to hell with it. Some people are, not all these people, but some people are just reopening their businesses. There was a barber here in the state of Washington who pretty much said, "Oh, the hell with it. I'm reopening my barbershop." Something he said something of, well, I'm not going to quote it because I didn't write it down. But anyways, he was just saying something like, "Hey, our Governor Inslee, he's being a dictator. Just listen to Trump, and reopen everything." People like that, and he's an older guy. Apparently, he's a former Marine, Semper Fi, Semper Fidelis. But Marines, they're hardcore, man. They just do whatever the fuck they want to do. And he pretty much has been like secretly been doing barber cuts and stuff, because he just doesn't believe in the whole, shutting down the system. And there's a lot of people that are rallying in all their major cities throughout the states, which comes to my point, which I'm trying to say. Why the fuck are y'all rallying? I'm gonna tell you guys, the listeners, why all of these mofos are rallying. Because they don't have financial education, people. It's as simple as that. They don't have financial education. What does that mean? That means that they have businesses, they have jobs, they have bills that need to be paid. They had money before this coronavirus happened. They didn't know what to do with it. They didn't save it. They didn't invest it. They didn't put away emergency funds. And the emergency came, and now they're all screwed. So it's sad. It is very, very sad, but it is happening right now. And financial education is not even in their vocabulary. They have no clue of what it is. And now they're scrounging around trying to figure out how to pay their rent, pay their bills, put food on the table. Um, and they're getting frustrated because they can't get through unemployment to give them a damn check so they can pay all this stuff. So they're running to the capital of their state and are, hosting rallies to protest and say, open up the fucking states so we can start working, so we can get paid. That's what's going on right now in the United States of America. And a lot of social media is, the whole world is watching and they're like, damn, man, you Americans are stupid. You're like the only country who's out there rallying and saying, defying health over finances. Yeah, because Americans are like that, yo. I mean, I love America. I love America. It's just that it's the land of the free, I guess. Do what you want, even though it doesn't make sense to some. I don't know. I don't like to get into debates. I just believe that if you believe in something and it's good and it's not hurting anybody, then more power to you. You don't have to feed that down someone else's throat. I made this podcast because I believe in something, which is financial education. And I believe that our people and everybody should be taught it, but I'm not trying to shove it down people's throats. So, couple, my son just entered the room. Can't see him, but because I got the screen thing, it's pretty cool, the green screen. But my point is that the reason why a lot of people are getting mad and angry of the shutdown or lockdown, quarantine, is because of money. It's simple. It's because of the moolah. The moolah, baby. That's all it is. They're frustrated because they don't have money to support their needs, to support not really their needs, but their expenses, their bills, their normal bills. That's all you hear. Like, a lot of people, is what we preach about in this podcast is it's very taboo to talk about your finances in every culture. In my culture, the Samoan culture, I know it's taboo, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of people don't like discussing about their own finances out there in public, which is fine, which is normal, but you have to, because if you don't, then there's no awareness on it. And that's why I created this podcast, to have a space. It specifically says a space, a financial education space. Oh, you're popping in the thing. Oh, there he is. A financial education podcast space for our Polynesian people, Pacific Islanders, for everybody and those who can relate. What's up, son? Right? Here he is again. What's an asset? What's an asset?
Isn't that like when you get money?
That's right, dog. What about a liability?
That's when you lose money.
That's right, dog. Now get out the picture. Go do your own podcast. I'm gonna make this guy like famous. He's gonna have his own YouTube page pretty soon. But close the door. Lock it. Well, don't lock it. Let's just close it. So financial education is key, and just learning about it will set you up for success. And a lot of people are going cuckoo because of the finances they lack of right now. And I feel bad. I feel bad for people because I have been there. And I just can't imagine myself right now, I can picture myself, but I can't imagine myself right now, me and my wife and all of our kids being in that situation, because we were in that situation for years before the whole pandemic, before this pandemic shit. We were already going crazy and shit, living paycheck to paycheck, stretching out every single dollar and getting pissed off. And you got to use the car to go an extra mile for that gas. And there's people out there that are in that situation that can't go to work, that cannot do the things to help support their families financially. And that's sad. That right there is sad. And the reason why I said it's needs to not be taboo to talk about your finances That's the main reason why, is because if you don't talk about money in your household, or if you don't talk about money to your spouses, or if you don't talk about money to your children, your kids, or your parents, guess what? You guys won't grow. You won't learn things. You won't pick up on things that other people know. So talking about it is a real big important thing in the world. But we see the results right now. I mean, there's a lot of look, y'all. There's a lot of so-called depression, which is leading into suicide right now, and it's real. This is real talk. There's numbers that I mean, shit. Yeah, let me think, let me Google something right quick. There's numbers of depression, suicide, suicide in the U.S. Let me type this in. Suicide in the U.S. From COVID, not COVID, COVID-19. And I heard a lot of other podcasts talk about the suicide rate, which is sad because of not only people being quarantined and just committing suicide because of finances, but it can be anything. It could be things that happen within spousal abuse, within emotional abuse, or just all kinds of things. And I'm trying to bring up something here. Coronavirus disease 2019 and firearms in the United States will an epidemic of suicide follow? God damn, what kind of article is this? Since February 2020, as U.S. public health officials have focused on containing blah 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 blah. Gun sales, well, yeah, gun sales went up because people are freaking out, just like The Walking Dead. Since this started, there were long lines at the gun stores, and people were just buying up. I remember the homie Us Skywalker hit me up and said, "What's up, Us? You gonna get your funga or what?" And I remember talking to him about, yeah, I need that Mossberg. I wanted a rifle for the house, what you call a shotgun or whatever. But I kind of veered off from that because I used to have gats, the fungus, and I don't know. I haven't had a funga in a while, and I feel kind of more comfortable without it, more safe. And eventually, yeah, maybe I'll get a sidearm and maybe a rifle. But the point is that there's a lot of people out there who, yeah, just buying the shit out of guns because they're ready to go to zombie war and everything. But that's not what I was trying to look for. I was trying to look for suicide. Anyways, that suicide stuff is real. Can't find an article on it right now. Suicide COVID-19. Let me type that in. Suicide COVID-19 USA. All right, let's see what pops up on there. So let's see. Altered brain. No. COVID-19 and suicide in uncertain connection. Uncertain. Oh, let's see about that. That was from April 22nd. Excuse me. I live and work in Colorado. Blah blah blah. Anyways, that's gonna take too long. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. But there is suicide that is happening a lot and around the world, y'all. And I don't have numbers or facts, and I can't juggle around on this computer right now. I can't find a real good article on it, but my thing is that when I heard about the suicide stuff, I heard a lot of it from happening because of domestic violence. There's a lot of domestic violence. And I remember us talking about that in our earlier podcast about domestic violence, being angry, hey, throwing wrenches at each other. Uh, Not literally, but, you know, uh, metaphorically. I was trying to look for that word. And it's very, very sad to hear about families or people going through um, abuse right now, domestic violence within the home during this pandemic, because people that don't really love each other or not really love each other, that hate each other because of whatever it may be, finances or adultery, you're stuck with each other in the same house and your emotions just keep growing, whether it's sad or more angrier, and then it leads to a blow up, a boom, a time bomb, boom, and then just the worst happens. Big ups, prayers to people who are victims that have had something happen to them, or are victims right now that are going through things. Especially our peoples. I just hope and pray that this podcast finds you, because I believe, me and my wife truly believe, because we used to be, we still argue with each other. That's normal. But when there's one thing that's the number one reason for divorce, and that one thing is taken care of. And what I mean by divorce is it causes all the problems for people to argue, to fight, to hate each other, to want to kill each other, want to rip each other's throats out, all this drama stuff. When that number one thing, which is finances, is taken care of, people, your relationship will get better. I'm not going to guarantee it'll get better, but I'm saying it'll help out dramatically, because it's a fact, it's a stat that the number one reason for problems, for marital problems, is finances. And Jesus Christ, I'm living proof, me and my wife, that it is true. Once you take care of your finances, life gets easier. I can say it. I can say it because it's happening to me. And there you go. I'm not going to preach about shit that's not happened to me, that hasn't gone, hasn't happened. So I can speak 100% facts for this, that it is true. I mean, when Tala's on the podcast, we always talk about how it's so much better. Even when we're not on the podcast, we just sit around, we talk about shit. Can you imagine or just can you remember where we came from? All the bullshit that we had to go through, the stupid fights we had, and why we had those fights. It was all because of money, in a bad way. There's the good and there's the bad about money. And shit, we've been through it. So we're just trying to preach the good. And, I just, yeah, that's crazy. And just thinking about the people that are hurt out there that don't see the light, it's very, 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 very sad that them not being able to see the light, or to even think that there's a glimmer out there, or to even see the glimmer, it's sad. And that's where a lot of people are just ending their lives. They're ending their lives. And, condolences to people that have, and the family members that have had to go through that. I just can't imagine. I've heard of plenty of Samoan families that have had family members, or know of family members or friends that have had family members commit suicide. And not only Samoan people, I'm talking about all peoples, Polynesians, whatever you may be, Palangi, Maoli, Pali, Filipino. It's very, very sad. Doing this podcast, I hope and pray that just by learning something about your finances can turn that frown upside down, to make your life a little bit happier. And geez, there is light at the end of the tunnel. I just can't imagine. I think I'm just going to get off this topic real quick because this is not cool. Anyways, there is light at the end of the tunnel, y'all. Depression is real. I've had depression in my life after graduating from high school. This is real talk, y'all. I'm going to tell you guys the truth right now. I had depression in my life. Ain't no fucking doctor had to tell me I had depression. I had depression at the age of, I believe I was around 19. That was at the height of my depression. I was a graduate out of high school. I didn't know where I was going. My mom was in a hospital bed at home. She had an aneurysm. She was paralyzed. She couldn't talk. She only could mumble, and because she had a stroke, aneurysm called her a stroke. Her whole side of her brain was gone, and she was in just a coma state where, or not a stroke state where they get back but they can't speak, and it was hard for her to do a rehabilitation. I was stressing. I just graduated. How she wasn't able to get, to come to the graduation. My dad was fighting diabetes. I had to take him to dialysis every other day. Um, I mean, I was. We were financially broke. My dad was in debt. I used to take him to payday loans like every 2 weeks at different payday loans, and I never understood what he was doing. But I just used to just take him because I was his driver. That's the only thing I could do to help out my father. He's in fighting diabetes and trying to pay off payday loans after payday loans because he's in debt. My my siblings, they're just all over the place, trying to start their own lives. We're still in the same area out here in the Pacific Northwest, but financially, nobody had it. Nobody had it. We're all living paycheck to paycheck. I just graduated high school. My dream was to be an entrepreneur, business owner. I wanted to own my own club. I was just that's a dream, right? That's just my dream. But graduating high school, I had no role models. I was depressed. I was a young teenager with bad acne. Um, I started falling into alcohol and other things. You know what I'm saying? Back in my younger days, and the depression just got high, and I was just pretty much lost. I didn't know what I was doing. Was frustrated from my home living, frustrated with the condition of my parents, condition of um, my my household, meaning like where we were going. We're living in apartments and just being lost and wishing I had all these other things. And that depression, it took a real turn. I think I don't know. I was just young, acne kid, lost, thinking that my whole life was over. I didn't. There was no college in place. My cousins were going to universities. They were moving on. I was looked at as the bad kid, because I don't know. I don't know why, but I did do some dumb things when I was younger. Uh, Actually, when I graduated in high school, true story, the day of my graduation, I was driving down the highway to go to my relative's house for the graduation party, and I got pulled over and I got locked up. And I spent my graduation night in a juvenile cell. And that was because in my younger days, I used to like graffiti. I used to do graffiti. So I got busted when I was doing graffiti in a former high school. And it was just a fine that my family couldn't pay. It was just fine. I went to whatever little juvenile court, and they said, "Okay, just pay this fine." And I thought my family took care of it, but they didn't. And that fine turned into a warrant. And when I got pulled over. Um, I had my license. I just didn't know I had a warrant for that. Yeah, that's how my life started off. So things start building up. I started getting depressed because I thought I didn't know where I was at. But anyways, suicide time. I got the sawed off shotty and I was ready to blow my head off, but I didn't. So let's fast forward and talk about today. People are ending their lives. I went through depression at a point in my life when I was young. Some of my children have been through depression. My older kids, and I've had experience to talk them, down and just tell them love is all that matters. Love is all that matters. And that love has, went a long way. And it's the only reason why I'm here today. There was thoughts running through my head, and I said, no, I'm not gonna, do anything crazy with this sawed-off shotgun and with the barrel in my mouth. But yeah, it didn't go that route. I said I seen a little glimmer of light because I just could think about good things, and I wouldn't have been able to think about those good things if it wasn't for the love that my family has always preached to each other and shared with each other. I think sharing love within your household right now during this quarantine time really means a lot to every individual in your household. If you just continue to show your love, whatever it may be, how it may be, just keep doing it. Yeah, that's my suggestion to everybody battling through uh, domestic violence and depression and emotional anxiety through this coronavirus. Now let's give it a little quicker picker upper right quick. So to switch off from the emotional part, I want to talk about the things that'll stop or help to control the emotional part, which in my life right now, in this point in time, excuse me, is finances. Finances can help you out big time to control these emotions. So it brings a little bit more light and a little bit more ease into your lives. So this past week, I believe, or maybe the week before, I was listening to a podcast, and I said, okay, I need something to give to the people out here, and I came up with something that I really loved that I got from another podcast, which was the stimulus package breakdown and how it's being spread out and how it's being used and who's paying for it and all the good things that people need to know that could help benefit them through this COVID-19. Because the bottom line is people need money. Everybody needs their money right now. And there's some good news about everybody's money, and there's some good tips in this information that I'm about to give that can help everybody out within their own households in their lives today. Hopefully. So I'm just gonna go over some things that I jotted down my own uh, with notes from a podcast that I listened to. Now, the name of this podcast is called Journey to Launch. It's a Maoli girl. Her name is Jamila Sufrant, and big ups to her because I've been listening to her. I've been following her. I really love her podcast about it's a personal finance podcast, but it's from a Maoli perspective. She's from, I think her family's from Jamaica. She's from Jamaica, but she was raised in the East Coast, and she had the upbringings of Jamaicans out there in the East Coast and finances. And she's a personal finance gal, and she has a lot of interesting guests on her podcast. And I love to listen to her podcast because I can relate in somewhat because she has her reason for making that podcast is to have a space for her people, the Maori people, and it's pretty interesting. It got me thinking about making my podcast to have a space for Pacific Islanders, Polynesians. So this podcast that I listened to is a great episode. It's episode, I got it right here, 151 from the Journey to Launch podcast. And it's titled Everything You Need to Know About the Economic Relief Package with Lynette Calfani Cox. Now, Lynette Calfani Cox is a woman that she had on her podcast, a guest who is like a major, super, super financial lady, African lady too, also American, all African American, and she has been a guest on. I believe they talk about on Oprah, Dr. Phil, big time. She's big time, right? And so she had her on her podcast because she said that she saw a tweet that the girl Lynette posted about her reading the, what is it? I have the notes here. Reading the 880 pages of the stimulus package. The 880 pages. This girl, this African American girl, she's, finance girl. She read it all for everybody. So she pretty much did it so she can, break it down to everybody. And that whole podcast, if you guys want to listen to that podcast, I suggest you do, because all I'm going to do is just talk about the notes that I got from it. But it's a very, very good, important podcast for you guys, Americans, Polynesians, to listen to so you guys can get an idea of what this whole stimulus package is all about. And I'm going to put the link of that podcast at the bottom of the show notes. If you scroll down to the show, to the notes, or where the about section, I'll have the link there. Click on that link, listen to that. It's a great listen. It's a great listen, y'all. And this is good. This is good stuff. Now we're getting into the good stuff, the real good stuff. I went through a whole little tandem thing earlier, but that's just talk. That's why I talk about life. Now it's time to talk about finances. So let's talk about finances here. So I'm going to break down what I got from the 880 pages that the gal read. Okay, these are my notes. So I'm just going to skim through this stuff, In America, we have a stimulus package. And for all you other countries, listeners out there, New Zealand, Australia, all you Polynesians out there around the world, I guess you guys have your own stimulus packages that have been pretty well. So, but this is something for the Poly Americans, also for American Samoa, because American Samoa is the same thing that we get here for the island of America Samoa. Okay, so what I got from it was, of course, what everybody knows is that we got this so-called stimulus package, this called the CARES Act. And that was like a $2 trillion packet that really helped out everybody. That means, that was the $1,200 check where everybody's getting their stimulus check that, everybody's been talking about, oh, yeah, my $1,200 check, you get yours. You got to file for this time, and you have to file for your taxes, and it'll come through direct deposit, blah, 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 blah. That was that packet. That's the one that's the most popular, the CARES Act. Now, what people don't really talk about, and they talk about in this podcast, in the Journey to Law podcast episode, is that there were actually two packages before that were passed by Congress, one in early March and one in mid-March. And there was a lot of benefits that the Lynette girl talks about. And one of them is basically, let's see here what I had here. Big businesses, single individuals to help author pay bill. Yeah, I talked about that. So the main thing that I really loved is how she was talking about that this is not a stimulus. They call it stimulus package, but when she said it, stimulus means you're stimulating the economy, meaning that you're getting money to put it back into the economy, meaning you're buying more stuff to keep being people to build up, meaning you're a consumer. You mean you get money and you throw it back into the economy by buying stuff, purchasing stuff. Well, the thing I loved about what she said is this is not actually stimulating. This is not stimulus. This is pretty much a relief. That's why they call it a relief packet to help pay bills and to keep businesses afloat. That's all it is. And it's just that $1,200. That's all we get, that one-time payment. Now, besides the one-time payment, there's good things that they talk about here. The one thing that I love is that the fact that she said that the three packages are not enough. There is going to be a stage 4, and there's going to be billions in that to help out the people. And from what I'm seeing, when I'm watching myself, is all this Twitter feed is that there's, propositions of everybody getting like a $2,000 check a month, with $500 extra per kid, 200 per adult. And they talk about that in the podcast. And hopefully that hurry ups and comes through, because she says that it will, because the government knows that this is not enough, but the phase 4 will come through to help out. And hopefully they hurry up with that, because that's a lot of money that can, help out a lot of people. Where's the money coming from? Well, pretty much it's coming from us, the taxpayers in the U.S. All the taxes that we pay over our whole lifetime, that it's been going, that you've been wondering where it's going through. Well, that's where it's coming from. And that's what she said. So, something like that. It's because we make up in the United States, we make up, this is how much money we make a year. It's called the GDP. GDP stands for gross domestic product. Yeah, that's what it's called. That just means how much money that we make a year. So here in America, we make 33 trillion. And this is from her, what she was saying. 33 trillion dollars is the makeup for the American USA GDP, the gross domestic product. And pretty much that's where our money is coming from with these packets, stimulus packets. Now, another thing I did like what she said is that with this money that's coming from ourselves, is that some benefit more than the others when it comes to receiving this money. Meaning that if you have ever read the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, you would understand that the rich, they understand tax breaks, when the poor, they don't, and they don't get any of the tax breaks. And that's where all of our money is going to. Tax breaks. If you understand taxes are the number one killer in your finances. But if you understand taxes and how to use it to your advantage, then you pretty much are winning. You're winning. You're a winner. And only the real rich people, because they educate themselves in finances, understand taxes. So pretty much that's what I got from, that is somewhat of the Rich Dad Poor Dad meanings or teachings. If you haven't read Rich Dad Poor Dad, I highly suggest you do that, because there's a quick breakdown. I could break down real quick, because we got time, y'all. We got time. If you ever Google it, just Google Rich Dad Quadrants. Okay. Now, the Rich Dad, the thing I love about him is he explains of 4 boxes. Okay. In the quadrant. So you draw a square and you put a cross right in the middle. That's 4 boxes. On the one side, let's just say the left side, you have an E on the top and an S on the bottom. That stands for employee, and the S stands for self-employed. Now, on the other side, you have a B on the top and an E, an I, not E, an I. Now, the B stands for businesses, meaning big businesses, 500 plus employees. And the bottom stands for I, investors. So what the girl was saying is that the people that understand the taxes will benefit more than the people that don't. Well, the Rich Dad Poor Dad quadrant explains it all. Everybody on the B and I side, the businesses, 500 people more, and the I, the investors, they reap the rewards. They're the ones who get taxed the less. They get all the benefits from this package, because a lot of it won't come out of their pocket. And everybody on the left, on the E and the S, means the employee and the self-employed on the left, they're the ones who get taxed the most. They're the ones that pretty much lose. I love that analogy of the Rich Dad Poor Dad quadrants, because it's something I learned in the beginning stages of my financial education journey, and that has stuck with me till today. I am now moving over to that good side, the B and the I side. And I am in the I side, investor side, which is the best side to be on, the best box quadrant to be on, in my opinion, because that's when your money is making money for y'all. So if you still haven't read the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, y'all, or listen to the audio book, yeah, man, I highly suggest you guys do that today. So as we know, us here in America, we received our checks, our $1,200 checks, one-time checks. I got mine's, Tyler got hers, our kids, our oldest son, he got his. And then we get the 500 for the children. So basically, you get 1,200 per adult if you're making 75K a year and under. That for couples, if you file, and this is if you file taxes, only for like Texas. If you file taxes as a single for 2019 or even this year, 2020, then you get that 1,200 per person. If you made 75K and under, if you made 24K as a, or if you made 150K as a couple, you get the $2,400 check. And then 500 extra for each kid who's 16 and under. Now, let's talk about unemployment, y'all. Unemployment. If you're getting cut off short hours or you have been cut off from your job, file for unemployment, y'all. Just keep going through. I know the unemployment hasn't been cutting checks as fast as they could be. I know it's hard for you guys to get through because my wife, she has been cut hours too, but she has, been claiming her unemployment. Now there's ways you can go about it. You can go file for, you can do your unemployment thingy where you got to check in or whatever, log in. During the midweek, they said it's best because millions and millions of people are trying to do it all at the same day on Sunday because that's the earliest. So everybody thinks that, okay, if we all do it they're thinking the same thing. We all log in on Sunday, then we can get it as early as Wednesday. But when everybody did that, it crashed. The system crashed. There's just too many people. This has never happened before. And all these millions of people filing for, the unemployment in the same day or logging in at the same day to make their weekly claim, because you got to make like a weekly claim. So if you do it in the midweek, it helps out. They said it helps alleviate the system and you'll get your money eventually. Now with the packages, some people have already gotten their unemployment checks. I know of some people that have, and my wife has. Know of some people has, and she's still waiting for hers. But you get an extra $600 max on top of whatever you're claiming for unemployment. And my wife's coworker has received her unemployment check, her partial unemployment check, because they haven't lost their job completely. It was just hours they were cut. And she also received the $600 or the portion of that extra $600. So that's a good thing. Not only are you getting paid from unemployment, but the stimulus packages have threw on an extra 600 to that. And that's what the Lynette girl talked about in the podcast. Let's see here. Yeah, so it's anything for hour loss, or if you got furloughed, or if your hours are cut. The CARES Act added that federal benefit of $600 extra weekly, all the way through July. Okay. Yeah, that's the unemployment. So just keep filing for unemployment, Americans, and the federal. Once your check comes in, you'll have that extra money. That's what this money is. It's our money. To get your money back. Next up is the federal mandate for sick pay. Now, this is cool because the package also allows you for, if you have any kind of COVID affected related stuff, whether it's you or whether it's your children, your spouse, or your parents, or if you need to take care of somebody, the stimulus package will give you 10 days of sick pay, 100% of sick pay for 10 days. They will pay you for free. It's what this package is about. If anything COVID related, and the max is up to $5,110 for 10 days total. So if you have anybody who's ill from the COVID-19 or have been ill, or if you have been ill and you were trying to figure out where you're going to get money from those lost days of sick pay, contact the CARES Act and tell them, give them all the information, and they will pay up to 10 days, 100% of all those sick days that you missed out. That leads into the FMLA. This is pretty cool. It's also pretty an extra money for everybody. FML, the FML benefit is an extension of the FMLA. So if you, let's just say, they just said if you work and your kids can't go to daycare or the schools are closed, your schools are closed, like our kids, the school's closed, you can have a total of 12 weeks paid from the FML extension from the stimulus package. 10 weeks are guaranteed paid. The employers don't have to pay the first 2 weeks, from what I heard, got from that podcast. But basically, you can get 10 weeks paid from the FMLA extension through the Stimulus Package Act. And that can be just for your kids, is not being at home from not going to school because the schools are shut down, or if you got to be at home to watch your kids that are in daycare because they can't go to daycare. This package will pay out 10 weeks of FMLA. Now, I'm not sure how much of the portion is that they're going to pay out. Well, if it's 2/3 or 100%, but still, let's just say that you're at home right now because you have kids that can't go to school and you got to watch them. You can file for the FMLA extension through this from the COVID, the stimulus package, and receive benefits up to 12 weeks, up to 10 weeks, up to 10 weeks. 12 weeks is if your employer pays the 2 weeks, first 2 weeks. But after the first 2 weeks, it's guaranteed 10 weeks are paid. Look into that, y'all. There's some people out there like me and Tala. I thought about it too. And we could file for it and have FMLA and stay home to watch the kids. And we're still thinking about it, but it depends on how much they're going to pay out. I believe when I looked at it, it was said it'll pay out 2/3 of your pay. And I ran the numbers. I said, well, we're fine. The kids are okay because we have some people they can watch, but it's still an option. It's still an option. This is for you guys who stumble upon this and might need to take action and use that FMLA stuff. So the state max and the benefits. State max for the benefit. What is that talking about? Why did I write that note down? Put the links to the state max. That was something she was talking about. So in that podcast, Journey to Launch podcast, episode 151, the girl Lynette says that on her website, she has every state of what they're allowed for the max benefits. What does she mean by max benefits? I can't really remember what she was talking about, but you'll listen. If you listen to that podcast, you'll understand. You'll hear what she's talking about. I think it means the max benefits. Taking another sip of this Truly can right quick. Oh, snazzles. I'll probably figure that out. Well, I was trying to get out with that in a little bit. Let's move on. So this tax credit will not be taxable. All right, let's talk about the good news about this whole stimulus package. Americans, number one, you do not have to pay this back. This is our money. It's free money. Number two, this is not going to be taxable for next year. That means it's free money. They won't put taxes on it or anything like that. So basically, this is a relief package. We're finally getting some money back from the Brazilian government to help us through these times. The only thing about it is it's taken long for them to cut out these checks. And they still need to get through phase 4. Phase 4 needs to hurry up because people need money now. But if you can take care of the FMLA, if you can take care of the unemployment, do that. Do that now if you haven't done that. That can help you already through the packages. But stage 4 is coming. I hope that comes soon because that'll kick in and help out a lot of people too. Now, let's see. There's for those that have student loans, they talk about this too, that all student loans are pretty much put on pause with no penalties whatsoever. I think they gave it like a 6 months pause. What did I put down here? Payments all the way through September. Oh, September. Okay. So they paused all student loans until September 2020. So basically, for those of you guys that are paying student loans, you ain't got to pay student loans. It's put on pause. There's no penalties. There's no hit on your credit reports. Credit bureaus don't get anything. It's all waived all the way through 2020. So boom, damn, that's a lot. That's a plus right there, y'all. Because I had to pay student loans, and that was a bitch. Just to get a break, especially through this pandemic, for all you former students paying student loans out there, more power to you. Now you get a little break. Get a little break. Use that money for something else. That's something you need. Use that money for bills or for food. You get a break. That's pretty cool. But no penalties. And for those that had defaults from March 13th are being refunded. That's cool. So all you guys that once this effect went in order in March 13th, if you were defaulted after March 13th in any kind of student loan whatsoever, you get a break. They actually give you money back, if you paid something. So that's pretty cool. Let's talk about what I got next. What it says here: forgiveness loans for small businesses. Now it goes down to the stuff that I really don't give a shit about. Pretty much forgiveness loans. There's benefits for small businesses. I don't have small business. I don't give a shit. There's benefits. Well, actually, I have a 1099 for DoorDashing, but that's nothing. Small business loans, blah blah blah. You could get a loan if you're a small business loan. That's all I'm talking about. And then it goes to big businesses, which I really don't give a fuck about. Meaning they can have a forgiveness loan, another loan. Well, fuck you. I don't care about the big businesses. I don't have a big business. I don't know anybody who has big business. Well, I do know people who have small businesses. So yeah, that could benefit those that have a small business. You can make a loan and you can get a loan forgiveness. So that might be something you might be interested in. If you are, you go listen to the Journey to Launch podcast, and the net girl will talk more about that. But I ain't gonna talk about that shit. I don't care about that. Okay. The last thing I'm going to talk about is something else I don't care about, which is you can make a higher loan in your 401k. The reason I don't give a damn about that is because this podcast is for beginners. I haven't even did a 401k podcast yet. So why the fuck would I talk about making a loan from your 401k? I know a lot about it, but I would rather preach about what a 401k is first, and how you can benefit from a 401k, the ups and downs, and about making loans. So this information is pretty much for those that don't know anything about finances and are thinking that, man, I need money now, I can take it out of my 401k. Well, what the Lynette girl says in her podcast is what I preach. And that is, don't fucking touch your 401k, people. That is your investment. Okay, that's your investment for your future so you can reach financial independence if you have a 401k. All right. Now, that's pretty much it. A little talky about, this information I got, because I think that can help out a lot of people financially right now with the FMLA extension benefit, and also the unemployment extra $600 on top of your unemployment, and pretty much the information that you don't have to pay back. This is free money, all right? Which is where I'm going to end off, and my main whole point of this, right? I wanted to talk about this is, what are you going to do with your money, your stimulus benefits? Okay. Obviously, it's obvious that you have to pay your bills. You have to buy food. You have to pay your rent. That's obvious, right? Now, for me and Tala, we have been fortunate to understand finances before this whole pandemic thing and financial thing happened. And what we are doing is pretty much sitting on it, if that's what you want to call it. You sit on it because we don't need to use this stimulus package money that they're giving us. But when I mean sit on it, that means we're waiting to see how we're going to use this to invest. We're going to use this as free investment money that the good Lord and the good Lord has willingly fell and out of the sky and threw into our laps to increase our our investment funds to reach that final goal of financial independence. So what we're doing is I put some money, like if you listen to our podcast a lot, you hear about me investing and stuff. So if you know anything about stocks, I threw some money into my 401k, which is stocks. I need to do a damn podcast about 401k already. It'll come. It'll come. This is all for beginners, but it'll come probably in a few episodes. And I put some money, threw some more money into the stocks that we're investing in. It's mainly index funds. Those are stocks. If you're wondering which stocks, it's index funds. Do your research, do your homework on low cost index funds, because those are the tickets. That's the tickets to when it comes to investing in stocks. They're low cost and they're index funds, which means index funds have everything in it. You're paying for a group of stocks, and it has all the major ones and all the other ones that they feel will benefit from. And the great thing about index funds is when something is doing great, it'll stay in the index fund. When something is doing poor, it'll fall off, and the next one that's better will jump up in it. Something like that. I'll get into that in another podcast. But when your stocks are low, yes, when you buy them. And right now, if you know anything about stocks, they're low. So you buy them. And then the next thing you know, they'll grow, grow, grow. And then in the future, yeah, you start cashing out. That's how you pay for your living, your financial independence. But anyways, going off tandem here. But the bottom line is financial education's pretty much, it takes care of everything, people. Educate yourselves on all the information I gave you guys today from what I learned, or don't. It's up to you. You can, take your time out 10 minutes a day and listen to a podcast, a financial podcast, or you can spend 10 more hours watching, Tiger King, the motherfucker over there with his lions and shit. Carol Baskin, you bitch. I don't even know. I watched like a few episodes and I had to stop. But, there's all these Carol Baskin jokes and all the Tiger King jokes. The reason why I stopped watching Tiger King, and I'm going to tell you guys the honest truth, is that I'm a financial guy. I'm trying to get my peoples out of the gutter. I'm trying to help my family. I'm trying to help people find ways to become financially free. My whole main goal is to reach financial independence and to teach financial independence. And when I was watching that, I just couldn't believe and I'm gonna just explain like this. I'm gonna say it out like this. I just can't believe what is it called? There's a word for it. I'm trying to think of. God damn, why am I going to brain fart here? And drink some more Truly. Privilege. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. I just couldn't believe the privilege that I seen watching that show. And that's the one thing that pissed me the fuck off. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This, are you fucking kidding me? That's the only thing I saw. And I hate to say it, but it's not really. I don't hate to say it. I'm going to say it straight up. White privilege. Watch Tiger King again. Go back and watch Tiger King again. Going back and watch Tiger King again. How the fuck did these guys, women, have been allowed to keep animals, crackheads, dope fiends, steal food from fucking, the free, all the Walmart meats and shit, living on a goddamn land, and just over years, decades. I was like, and get paid and just go through the system without anything happening to them. It's white privilege, y'all. I mean, you can say what the fuck you want about it, but that's the reason why I turned that show off. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, damn. I was like, how the hell can this guy, just afford all this stuff and just continue to live a life like this and just focus on just stupid shit, like buying tigers and having this tiger stuff and getting guns and I don't know. I don't know, man. I just thought that it was just some stupid shit. That show was just fucking pissing me the hell off because there's people out there in the world that get away with all this kind of stuff, this nonsense stuff, because it's just how the world works in certain areas. And then there's people that are struggling, real life people like us, who we can't get, the privilege like some other people because of the color of our skin, the information we get, the side of the railroad tracks we live on, because there's no kind of libraries, there's no kind of Samoan, Polynesian, superiors in the government that can help us, that can just guide us to how to go all about our ways. It's just, these people had all the time in the world on that show to just sit around and fuck around and live life the way they wanted to live life with no problems, because it's Florida or it's wherever the hell they live at, and it's cool. It's cool for them. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just going on a tandem there again. Anyways, fuck that show. I thought it was stupid. It's just another. I'd rather watch a sci-fi show that's fake than watch this real shit that I just get pissed off because I can see the privilege on some cultures and some people that we can't even get. That we just Samoans have a fucking tiger farm. What the fuck you think is gonna happen? These motherfuckers gonna come out and just start harassing us, because we're gonna try and fight, Paki over there, I don't know. I think it still takes time. I think it just depends on where you live at. In America, it's very different out here. In America, yeah, I mean, it's stupid out here. Sometimes I like to say it all the time. This country was built on racism. That's pretty much it. And it's like that all around the world too. But here in America, I mean, I'm raised here, man. I know what's popping out here in the States, man. I know what's popping. You look at this picture right here on the YouTube page. This dude right here with no shirt on. This dude right here. This dude right here. He's cool. He'll get away with a lot of shit that none of us can get away with. These cats right here, these Asian cats. Yeah, man. Yeah. You picture some one dude in the background of this video. I'm talking about the YouTube page. Yeah, then it's all like everybody would just walk out the way, be scared of you for no reason. Like me. You walk in this video, if you're watching a video and I'm walking down this beach next to this, ain't nobody gonna stare at that bottom. They're gonna stare at me. Like, oh man, watch out, this guy's gonna beat you up. That's just how the way it is, man. Going on another tandem there, but it's my fucking show. And my wife ain't here to stop me. I love you, hon. Hopefully I'll get you on the next one. But until then, so far, so full. Thank you guys, everybody, for listening to that Growin Simone. And if you haven't already, please go down to the iTunes, rate, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Go to the YouTube page, leave a comment. It's your boy, DJ Hen Doggy Dog, aka Hen Willie, with the help tip. Help tip of the day. Damn. Do this coronavirus thing. I don't know. Health tip of the day could be set a routine. I think that's a good health tip. I was thinking about that too. Is like I'm not in quarantine because I still have my day job and then I have a side hustle, so I'm always moving. But I hear a lot about people who are in quarantine on podcasts that that are at home, that what they do is they have a routine. They set a routine, a daily routine, where whether it's getting up and getting the kids ready for their online schooling, or setting up some kind of Zoom exercise, or reading, or taking a break. But I suggest everybody just set up a daily routine to get you through this quarantine. Our governor Inslee extended our quarantine lockdown for another month. So out here in Washington State, we're quarantined until the end of, what is this, May? I think May, and we got like 4 phases that like every 3 weeks it's gonna like lessen up. So everybody stay safe out there. Please continue to wash your hands and wear your mask when you're out in public. Don't be ma. Don't be ma about that shit. I went to the Samoan. Me and my wife went to the Samoan store yesterday, and like 90% of the people in line weren't wearing a mask, but we were wearing. My wife wore her mask. I didn't go in the line because I went to the other store, but I wore my mask in there because it was, it was necessary. You couldn't go in that store if you didn't have a mask. It was the Fiji market. You had to wear a mask. I went in there with my mask. My wife was in the other line at the Lily's Bakery. Shout outs to Lily's Bakery in the house, the bomb Samoan food out here in the Pacific Northwest. Big ups to her. And my wife was in the line wearing her mask. So those are the health tips of the day. Health tips, not just health tips. Those are the health tips. Number 1, set a routine, daily routine to keep you going, keep your mind going, your body going. Don't stay too comfortable. You gotta keep moving. And number 2, keep washing your hands and wearing your mask out in public. It helps. It helps, huh? There's a big shout out to the Skywalker podcast. He posted something on his Twitter. I think it was, or Law the Jedi posted something on Twitter about the 1918 epidemic and how people were the same way back then. They were the same way. They were fighting about not having to put on masks. Masks were mandatory, but people were fighting it. And there were also posts about people that were, fighting about paying their rent. So anyways, history repeats itself. I guess that's my main point. That's how I'm going to end it. History repeats itself. People, just because it's 2020, don't mean that we don't have the same eyeballs and nose and mouth and asshole just like the people in the 1918s or the 1700s. History fucking repeats itself, okay? Do what you gotta do to protect yourself and your family and your others. And until then, Tofa Soifua. It's your boy, DJ Hen, Audi 5000G. Peace out.